I was totally shocked, by the
Yes.
whole
The whole
whole
experience.
thing. Even from the introvert point of view of being up on that stage in front of 5,000 odd people was hell. But for me, it was very much of, when am I ever going to get the chance to show 5,000 people what I can do in Tableau?
Welcome to the Data Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, Nisar Ahmed. Join me as we explore the inner data nerd inside all of us. Dive into the world of data alongside special guests who not only share their wealth of experience and knowledge, but also unveil what truly makes them data nerds. This podcast is brought to you by Business Intelligence. That's BIZNIS Intelligence. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Business Intelligence to stay up to date with Tableau training and the Data Nerd Podcast. Connect with me on LinkedIn or stream the Data Nerd Podcast across all major podcast platforms. Hey, welcome to the Data Nerd Podcast. We are live in San Diego. Tableau Conference just wrapping up. And Will and I actually ran into each other a few times at the conference, right?
Yeah.
Once during lunch.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's what kind of spurred this conversation to have this podcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Will, if for those who don't know you, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Will Sutton. I've been a Tableau user for the last over 10 years, I'm going to say. Don't want to give away too much of how old I am, but I've been a Tableau user. I won Iron Viz in 2022. I've then become Tableau Visionary for the last few years, and now do a lot of different projects in Tableau community. Like I lead a community project called Games Like Viz. I'm sure we'll hear about that. And now co-lead the AI in Tableau user group.
And you were Iron Viz Champion, right?
Yeah.
That was how many years ago?
2022.
2022.
So for 3 years now, I've seen judge one competition, seen two more champions. So I'm all good.
Yes. What did you think of the competition this year?
I'm so glad I was not judging that.
It was tough.
That was tough.
Yeah.
That was really close. Yeah. I don't think anyone could have called it. When I caught up with Chris on the judging team, he was saying, when he had a look at the scores the first time, what they had was about half a point in it.
Yeah.
And that's yeah.
I didn't even know who to vote for when the voting came up.
No,
so close.
I know. It's so hard to really say this is the winner in that case, but they, you got to understand that they've all won in some regard because
making the top three in itself is an achievement, right?
Yeah. But certainly when I came to the competition, it's this is something so outside of the comfort zone I had. I was not a person that would go and talk up much in meetings, and so even presenting stuff would be I just want to get over and done with and just get out of here.
So you're an introvert.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so I think actually a lot of people in the data community are kind of this characteristics of an introvert kind of help with the analysis. If you overthink things too much, you overanalyze.
Well, that's part of the job, right?
It's
usually extroverts don't think as much as introverts. I'm not saying that they don't think, but I'm saying introverts generally think before they act or talk, right?
Yeah, and take quite a while to work it through. And,
exactly.
The sort of rabbit holes you would go down,
and to think of all the possibilities and outcomes and how it may impact you, right?
Yeah.
So talk about your journey then, right? So you're now you won Iron Viz, you're a visionary, and now you have this life post winning Iron Viz, but there was also this life pre Iron Viz, and I'm assuming it changed a lot of things, and perhaps you had to do some things to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about your journey, where you started, and then how you got to where you are now?
Yeah. So I've been started off using Tableau, learning a lot from the community back in the day, and then just working through visualizations. I got quite from all the resources, I got quite good at using the report resources just to build out the reports. But there came a point in time when I was trying to go for a promotion. This was at the BBC. We had we need someone to lead our Tableau environment. I thought, this is amazing. This is doing more Tableau work. This is what I really enjoyed doing. So I was hey, let's go for this. And I looked at what I had to show in terms of Tableau work, and most of it was at different jobs that I had done in the past, or just while I was there, and so I had no like portfolio to sort of work with to sort of show like what I could do, and so I pulled things together really quickly, and I had this and this. What ended up happening was I didn't get the job, and but I kind of thought, well, I looked at like that portfolio and thought, well, I can work on this, and what's more is I could actually look at like the work I did and then actually compare it to what was out there in the community. So there was a community project of Makeover Monday, which is still going. So simple data sets, like make a visualization, aim for about an hour. And I thought, like look at stuff like, oh yeah, I could do that. When I actually came to do it like myself, under the hour, like there's so many stressful decisions I was making, like why should I do this? Should I do that? And this.
Yeah.
And then you publish your work, and then you see what everyone else does. And you're like, oh, okay. It's a kind of it was really hard for me to actually start putting it out there, knowing that there was a lot of better things out there, which is
you're talking very much like an introvert. Those are introvert tendencies, right? They're afraid to put things out because they're afraid of like it's not good enough or what other people may think of it, right?
The feedback is just horrible, and I think like any kind of like words you think like you just don't want to know, rather not hear it. But you can certainly, even for me, I didn't ask for feedback, even though I probably should have done. But I could certainly see the differences in what I did, what someone else did in terms of like the decisions, the design, and what they did with the data in the end. So slowly, I probably was at a slower rate, I did get better. Did start improving, picking up these little tips and techniques here and then incorporating into my work. And so throughout that, I started building up this portfolio of work. But I kind of reached a point with Makeover Monday. It's, as I say, it's very simple data sets. So there's only so many bar charts you can make, so many like line charts you can make, because it's very simple data that you're working with. So it was then I took a sort of different step and so I think, well, how can I get some more out of this? Because I wasn't really enjoying it at the time. I started thinking about, well, how can I add some more fun to it? And that's when I started adding like my own interest to it. It's like doing a project I was interested about. And sometimes it's like bring the data in from something you like. So I liked playing a lot of video games at that time. It was sort of getting towards like COVID times. I think I'd been reintroduced to like my old Xbox, and I was like, oh my, like these are amazing. And I remember, I think it was Christmas. I was like booting up like Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and the UI, the interface, the menu was so amazing for the game. It's like I do this all the time in Tableau. I build like little menus, like filter buttons and stuff, and like landing pages. Like, could I just build this like look and feel in Tableau? Not really like a Viz thing, but I did. And it taught me a lot of like the like unusual things you could do with Tableau in terms of like custom shapes to make like certainly UI panels. It had like little moving videos in the background. It's like, how do you do that? And so I got like a YouTube video in the background that plays like when you open up the visualization, which is cool. And it's like, I never knew how to do this stuff. And I think it was like a blog post from like Jeffrey Schaefer that showed me. I was like, okay. So I started working out these little things. Like I was interested in that. So
you got inspiration from the community to do things differently, even to learn, right? Like when you saw that video game, what was it, Halo, you said? And you want to copy that, you wanted to figure out how to do it, and so you looked up other people who may do similar things and try to do it. Without the community, putting this stuff out there in content, it's hard for people to kind of learn it themselves, right? And leveraging that community, I think, is a huge thing that people can leverage to help yourself grow. Right. And I'm sure now people are saying the same thing about you. Like you have you're in a place where now you can serve as that mentor or produce content that may help other people as well. So it's like a full circle.
Oh yeah, I always remember like going on the path and trying to find something and having that bit of inspiration. But there's always that sort of part of like giving back as well. And again, that's still a skill. Like it's still a skill of like like this, or like producing like video content blogs.
Oh,
It's
100%. Yeah.
it
It's
is a
not
skill.
easy.
I
Yeah.
I never enjoyed writing, but for blogs, I'm like they're like motivated, like come on, put this thing together, put it out there, because it's it's something else I want to kind of grow, and yeah, it has that feedback effect of like people get use it, and it's really good. That's really
Yeah.
good to
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Like
So this is all. This is before Iron Viz.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So so tell me where you were in terms of your career at this point.
Okay, so in this sort of part of my career, I was still like working as a data analyst. I was at a point where I kind of needed a bit more money to get like a mortgage on a house.
Yeah.
So I was working at the BBC. We've kind of been like pay freeze for quite a long time, and I was like, I'm not going to get this sort of my base salary high enough to actually afford anything to do that. So I ended up moving to a different company, so a financial like remittance company for sending money overseas, and got the pay increase there, which was really helpful in terms of securing a mortgage. So I was in this kind of like that sort of point, just moving one step beyond into like actually providing now for a family.
Right.
Yeah.
And then is this when that Iron Viz opportunity came up while you were doing this?
Yes. So yes, the house mortgage stuff was very much a part of it all. But yes. So what actually happened was it was at my Iron Viz entry was actually from games like this because I was trying to help promote the project. So I was putting out like a blog of like these different gaming ideas that you could use for this because the theme was on art. I was like, there's art in games. I gave these different ideas. I even then gave out the idea that I went and did, which was it was based on my family during COVID. We would play like this Pictionary type game. It's called Drawful 2. It's so good. You get like a prompt and it's not something obvious at times, and you have to draw it. And one member of my family, just the drawings, you couldn't tell what they were. Like I couldn't tell it. No one else in the family could. And I asked, well, does anybody know what these are?
Yeah.
And so I got some data on that from the community and built up a biz around that. And really, it was just me having a bit of fun. And then and then it happened. So I got the email in saying you're in the final.
You're in the final.
And at that point in my career was quite a challenging moment. So the company I was at had made half the team redundant at times, and like our jobs were kind of uncertain at that time. It was very much like need to keep the business profitable. We were having quite a bit of trouble with the mortgage and everything, and it's it dawned on me of this sort of great decision I had of like, do I try and like keep the job going, or do I actually take that time, focus on Iron Viz and see what I can make of that contest?
But you weren't in a position where you can do both?
I was going to have to take some time off work to do Iron Viz.
Because work was not paying for you to go there. You had to go. You pay for yourself, right?
Well, when you get in the final, you're part of the show.
That's right.
Tableau will pay to go, which is really nice.
Right.
Really good. So, but yeah, the time I had was either spent like supporting that company or like going after this competition. And yeah, I thought the competition's not going to come up again. So let's roll the dice there and go for that. So I took some time out and just went and just focused on that.
Well, what did your work say when you did that? Were they happy with it, or did they say that you can't go?
No, didn't say I couldn't go. They were okay with it. Yeah. Okay. In terms of that, like, I think they were probably like, "Wow, okay, yeah, that's amazing. Just go."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you go to Iron Viz, okay, and you win.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Oh, well, it's a lot. I was totally shocked, by the whole
experience,
the whole thing. Like, even like from that introvert point of view of being up on that stage in front of like 5,000 odd people was hell. It's one of those things I had to, I think, like reframe the goal of like what you're going for, because I think people would go there like thinking, I got to make the best viz, I got to win. But for me, it was very much of when am I ever going to get the chance to show 5,000 people what I can do in Tableau? So very much a case of what I want to do is just show the best work I can do rather than something that would be like, this is the winner sort of thing. That makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense. But like,
yeah.
But yeah, and I would go on it.
So like you pushed yourself because number one, you said you weren't comfortable in going in front of a crowd and presenting, right? You're an introvert, so you're like, you have to get over that. Number two, you had this whole like uncertainty with your job as well. And then you had that going on. And then number three, you're like, you still weren't sure, like, will win or lose or whatever place you come in, like, what's going to happen afterwards, right?
No, I didn't know. And I was like, it could be the worst thing ever. And like, I go like drop into a hole in the ground, but it might be good. It's sort of like thinking, well, what good could happen from it? And well, it did. that did come of it.
So, well, I mean, you're really letting your work speak for yourself because now you have thousands of people watching you.
Yeah,
and if you do a good job, opportunities will present themselves, right? I mean, is that what happened?
Yeah. So that's what happened. Then it was like business cards here. Let's have a chat. I remember speaking to someone there who had come in as a consultant for a job I had done in the first job I had Tableau with, and said, what you did on that stage was damn impressive. If you ever want a job, I was like, this was the guy.
Did you tell them?
Yeah. It's like, you spoke to me like 8 years ago. It was like, wow. Which was like, wow. It was like real sort of like a full circle moment of like, look where you've come sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment is like an incredible moment where you kind of like, you're there, you've suddenly like got to the end of it, you feel like, oh, this presentation bit is finally over. And then I generally thought like Kimberly, my other competitor, was gonna win. Like I generally thought like that was it. And then it wasn't. I was like, oh my god, I was incredibly like shocked by it all.
It's very much okay. Like, I mean, the production value of these competitions are amazing. It's literally like you're on TV. Like on like America's Got Talent or something, like in the finals.
Yeah, this is it. This is what I realized afterwards. It's like being Adele. I had a stage in Vegas. It's amazing.
This was in Vegas at the time, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so then I'm assuming after that all happened, things worked themselves out. You got opportunities. You left your job right after?
Yes. I got home, resigned the first day. I got back. I had a job there secured, and that's what I moved on to. That's where I am now with the information lab. But
awesome.
That change and that from that moment was one of the most like night and day things I've ever seen. Like,
I could imagine.
I really like hope that everyone gets to experience like this kind of feeling like one day in their life. But it was very much like day 1 and 2 of the conference. I could just walk around, like walk across, and like nobody talked to me. Like no one really like knew.
And then you're a celebrity.
Who I was, or I hadn't seen my face that much other than like LinkedIn or something. But then like, it was nuts. Like everybody knew me. Everybody was coming up to me like because little things they would like talk about the viz, but talk about like the videos we had to do, explaining like who we were, where we came from, like relating to my story. And I wasn't expecting that. I was like telling a story of like, oh, live in this little like remote town in like the countryside in the UK. And, like, people came up to me like, we're from a small town too. Like we really was the same story. Like, I didn't know.
It must have been very overwhelming.
Yeah, right? It was quite a lot. It's like,
especially if you're not used to that.
No, like social situations were like not a thing, and these were like social situations coming for you.
Yeah. So not only did this open the door to opportunities, but and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this got you out of your social shell as well.
Oh, like there was no hiding.
There's no hiding. No, but even now, like when you're talking here on the podcast, at the conference, you approached me and we're talking.
Yeah.
Like you're not, you don't come across as being um, socially awkward or
Okay, that's not
afraid to talk,
Yeah.
or you're very well spoken, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like this experience has helped you in many ways, not just from your career standpoint, but just from like a personal
Yeah.
growth standpoint as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like really changed so much. I think like my favorite is always like Andy Cochran when he remembers me in rehearsals for Iron Viz.
Yeah.
We had to do the big like on stage come out, and I was like, I was tired. I was like I really don't want to do this anymore. And it's like, you know, they come on there like woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
I was there like and it just like ran away, and it's just so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of helped me like no one's here to like beat you up or anything like that, or like pick a fight or to say you're no good. It's like we're all like people here, and like just having that open like friendship, like friendly like manner to it's like
that's the Tableau community in a nutshell, right? That's what it is. And you're part of that community, right? You're a visionary.
Yeah.
And you and now you serve as a mentor to people, right? Like like you're the roles are reversed now. Now you're the one helping other people.
Right.
And
it's a strange one about how it like again it's all almost going back to the skills of like I was building Tableau dashboards, doing this, and then like I got this kind of kick from Iron Viz of like, well, you know, you've done this great public speaking thing. And then I was being asked, "Oh, would you like to come and present at our user group?" And it's like, "Oh, how many people have you got?" Like 100. It's like, "Oh,
that was a New York user group, right?
This was London.
London. Okay.
Yeah.
You were asked to come to the New York one too. I went to that one. They said you couldn't make it, so you created a video.
Yes. Yeah. That's a whole other sort of skill. But like when they were saying like 100 people, like before I'd be like, oh, wow, no thanks. But now it's just like I've done 5,000.
You did 5,000. Everything it's all from here. It's all down.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
This is fine. This is nothing. So it's kind of like facing that big challenge there made everything else relatively seem like very like doable in those cases.
You know what that speaks to? I think a lot of times it's just people have it's they stop themselves. It's in their head. It's all mental.
Yeah.
You've done the 5,000. Now mentally you're okay with speaking even in front of 1,000 people. You're like, oh, this is smaller than what I've done before.
Yeah.
Right. And so okay, not everyone's gonna get an opportunity to be on the stage in Iron Viz, right? That's like 3 out of thousands of people. Okay.
Yeah.
But for people who are maybe are in a similar situation to where you were pre Iron Viz, where they're just trying to prove themselves, get opportunities, and grow. Do you have advice for them on what they can do to change and grow in their career based on your experiences now?
Yeah, like I've had people come and like say like they've got like these different goals in mind. And I think sometimes people come to me with the goal of like they want to become like Tableau ambassador, and like that's not a thing you should like aim to do.
Why?
Because it's very much determined on someone else choosing who gets to be an ambassador or not. And that selection process, I don't know what goes into it, but it can leave you quite like disappointed, like if it doesn't go your way.
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah,
right?
If it happens, it happens. It should happen for like the right reasons. But for me, like I'd been in the community doing stuff for a very long time. None of this ambassador stuff, visionary stuff happened like before Iron Viz. That was it. That's when the switch happens. But for me, it was very much like I advise people, don't look for the title or whatever. It's look at like what skills you want to be adding in to like your CV, your portfolio, or whatever, or like what you want to do, like what things you enjoy and building on those skills, because that is something that's much more like personally rewarding and like makes you happy rather than just the title, because it's it's a title.
Titles mean so many different things. People could like throw a title out there and like it just there's so many titles. They don't mean anything. You just have to look at the job and if it fits what you want to do and if it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
regardless of the title.
It's like, what do you do? What do you get to do?
What do you do? Not what is your title?
Yeah. What do you like? In pure terms,
I actually noticed that on our Tableau badges, they don't put titles on there.
Oh no.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They just put your name and whatever company you work for.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they want to, have that title make a difference on, like
how you treat
other people.
Yeah.
They want everyone to be the same.
Yeah.
And you feel that when you're walking around, you may be talking to a president or a CEO of the company and you don't know.
Yeah.
And you're an analyst. Like it's and granted, I think for the most part, people who go to Tableau Conference are very relatable and down to earth, regardless of their titles.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a good, a huge part of the Tableau community. I haven't been part of any other communities. I don't know if you have.
No, I don't. I never found anything quite like it.
Yeah, it's very unique.
Yeah, very unique. How like you can put out a piece of work and you think like, oh, you like a boss or something that would like come at you with all its sort of bits and that, and like, but that's no one's here like that.
Yeah,
no one's here.
Yeah,
no one's here to do that. So
no, I mean this is a great story. And I think there's a lot of takeaways that people can take away from this, and a lot of inspiration. And when I was, when we had our lunch together, you were telling me this story, and as you're telling me this, I was like, this would be a great topic to talk on the podcast, because I think other people would love to hear this. I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate you making the connection, like, and bringing me on to share what I've got to do, because when you like look back on what you've done, it's like again amazing. Like when I found that person who's then teaching me Tableau like 8 years ago, and then offered me a job like thereafter, you think, wow, how far I've come. And then again, sort of you can just look back on like where I was in like that rehearsal stage of like the like bye, and then like like now it's like I've gone on to go and like present a conference and stuff. It's you don't really know how far you come at times, but
you don't.
It's like one sort of step at a time. It starts off like, in this case, it was a dashboard. Then it became like my first like blog post. Then it became like my first YouTube video, and then it just goes and goes. So that's
and I think a lot of what you said was like, don't chase after titles or things. Like, do things because you're doing it for yourself. Right. And things will just work themselves out. If you do things that you love and you're doing it for yourself, more often than not, then at least you're happy doing it, and you have some. It's gonna help you grow.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you enjoy something, the time goes quicker. You generally like get a bit of a buzz from doing it, and then again, it's just like a nice thing that you can put into a routine. It's not like you're studying for an exam for like a topic that you don't really want to do, but you kind of feel like you have to do it to keep up.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate you joining.